them. Well, we all know relationships can be a beautiful thing, but they can also be a challenging thing. That is why we are joined by Thad, marriage and family therapist, to discuss some of the most common and not so common relationship questions. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you for being here.
It's great to be with you.
Let's jump right into it. Relationship advice. Obvious question is, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give someone in a relationship?
What I tell couples all the time is to invest in your relationship like it's one of the most important ones that you have in your life. We spend a lot of time investing in our health, in our education, in our careers, and I think we have to equally invest as much time into the relationships that are important to us.
For sure.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Neither Jackson or I are married yet, but I have once the honeymoon stage passes by, where do you see most couples fail?
Yeah, I would say it's primarily in unmet expectations, right? So there's expectations in these romantic relationships, and what really precedes those unmet expectations is a breakdown in communication. Mm-hmm. So you have this breakdown in communication, unmet expectations that then start to build stress. And stress compounds stress, and if that stress isn't dealt with, it leads to things like resentment and a whole host of problems in couplehood.
For sure. One of the things that I had learned semi-recently, we'll go with, is sometimes people will have 80% of what they want and they're still going to go look for 20% that they don't have in that relationship. How do you, as a counselor, kind of tell people like, hey, be happy with the 80% you have. Don't go try and find 20% somewhere else when you have over majority of what you really do need?
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that we're not going to get everything from everyone at every time that we want it, that there is going to be challenges, but that communicating expectations and talking about what is that 20% and how can I get to a place where I do feel more content and therefore happy in my relationship.
Let me ask, why is it that people start to kind of give up in the middle of it, in the midst of trials and tribulations?
Couplehood is hard. Marriage is hard, right? I mean, you think about stacking on all of that stress. Sometimes it does just look easier to give up, start over. But think about all of that time that you invested in just the foundation of your family or your life centered around that romantic relationship. But it is hard, and for many people, too hard, and they don't reach out for that help to get to navigate through those challenges, and it does fall apart for, unfortunately, a large percent of couplehoods in this country.
So one of the things I also learned is sometimes arguments or those trials and tribulations can be very healthy for a relationship. It can make it very strong. What's that advice you would give to work through those?
Absolutely. No, I mean, I think that builds resilience in your relationship. You're always going to have those challenges and tribulations, and I think it does come back to communication. And I think what most people get wrong in communication is they think it's about talking, when in reality, the couples that I work with, I teach them more so how to listen, to actually hear their partner before they actually then respond with how they're feeling.
Yeah.
So can you give us an example? Let's say we're arguing with your partner. What is the right way to go about it?
Well, lots of right ways. First and foremost, take a deep breath, right? Often when we're kind of engaged in a conflict, our emotions run high, and so I work with couples to just slow things down, hear what the other couple is saying, and then when you're communicating, using and leading with I statements. I feel, I need, I want. We're trying to get those expectations out there in a calm way. And if you notice that the tension is rising, it's okay to take a break. Take a step back, catch your thoughts, collect your breath, and come back when you're ready to have that conversation.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, great. And that is not going anywhere. Still to come, we are going to be learning how Marriage Solutions can put us to the test with a fun trivia game. We'll have more after the break. Stay with us.